From our traditional topic of retirement planning this morning, and we are joined by financial advisor Jeffrey Massey, who's joined us this morning as he discusses a tough topic on losing a spouse or family member. First off, good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us today. I'm happy you're here today because this is something so many people have, they've kind of put off for a long time. It eventually happens to everybody. Everybody has to, at one point or another, deal with this. So how did you come up with this checklist that you've put together?
Well, over the years, we've dealt with many people with their retirement planning. And of course, as we age, the inevitable happens.
Right.
So we saw how people were struggling with doing all the little details after their loved one passed away. So we gathered information from different sources and put together this checklist and just recently updated it to even put more information out there. So it was mainly due to the struggles of our clients,
right,
is why we developed this checklist if you lose a loved one, what to do. What are the important steps to take?
Yeah, so give us an overview of like the more urgent items, the things that need to be taken care of right away.
Well, the obvious, the funeral. Mm-hmm. The funeral director will generally order the death certificates. You'll need multiple death certificates,
right,
depending on how many different assets you have in different places, because each custodian of money may require an original. Mm-hmm. Some will accept a copy, but many will require an original. So you want to take care of that. The funeral director will notify Social Security. A big thing that many people don't think about, and I remember this when I was a kid. My dad was the president of the men's club at our church.
Right.
And the men would volunteer to go sit in people's houses because they were going to be away at the funeral, and houses were getting broken into during that period.
Right.
So the men would go and sit in the house just to help protect
the house.
It's just be obvious that you were there.
Right,
right. And that's so important.
So after you get through this difficult time, and it really is because everything kind of comes at you all at once. You're looking for paperwork, you're looking for documents, all of this stuff. What's the next thing that needs to be addressed?
Well, then it would be like the financials,
mm-hmm,
the banks and credit unions. And when you're doing that, you have to change ownership typically from a joint account to a single account. Always, always, always check your beneficiary designations.
Right.
And you should do that in a
Yes.
Yeah, like every day you should be doing that.
I already know what you're going to say, and the answer is yes.
Every time that I'm in front of clients or
yes,
even out in the public speaking, it's check your beneficiary designations because it happens so often
right,
where people overlook something
mm-hmm,
and it ends up going to the wrong person.
Right. And a lot of these things don't want to be talked about when someone is alive, like a parent's alive or a spouse is alive, because they think it's morbid or something like that. But this stuff is stuff that needs to be taken care of years in advance because God only knows what's going to happen.
Exactly. We're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Right.
So with this checklist, regardless of your age, if you have aging parents, mm-hmm, this is a great checklist to have.
Right.
Because it kind of tells you or shows you what it is that you need to be looking for, and then you can develop a plan.
Yeah.
Right. Because that way, the more you plan, the easier it is for everybody.
Exactly. All right, now, so look, I mean, just because when somebody passes away, then there's taxes, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a parent, or property that's being dealt with. Talk about that.
The bigger issue is when the spouse passes, that'll be your last year of filing jointly. Mm-hmm. So then the following year, you're going to file as a single tax filer. Well, the income that you can take in gets cut in half.
Okay.
So for many people in retirement, $120,000 of gross income after deductions brings you to the top end of the 12% bracket, and that's $89,450. As a single filer, that's literally cut in half. So now what happens often, income will go down,
right,
but the surviving spouse could jump up from the 12% bracket to the 22% bracket.
Okay.
So there are certain things you can do to help avoid that, like doing Roth conversions and things of that nature while you're still alive, or during that final year when somebody has passed, during that year, do what you can to kind of manage the taxes going forward. It takes a lot of planning.
No, it does take a lot of planning. And a lot of people, like we were saying, don't want to deal with this now while they're alive because they think it's morbid or they just don't want to think about it. But it's not only good for you, but it's also good for the family members, your spouse or the family members who are here.
Absolutely. When my dad passed years ago, picture mom, 6 kids in the funeral director's office trying to make decisions.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Months later, my mom says to me, just came back from the funeral home. I've got it all planned out. You're not going to go through that again.
Right.
So that was really a blessing. The
It
mom
is
is still with us. She's in a nursing home now,
Right.
but she's still with us. She's 96.
Wow.
I mean,
God bless her.
you know, things are moving along where the inevitable will happen.
Sure.
We know that. It's not
Right.
going to be easy.
Right.
It's not going to be easy. I get it.
Yeah.
But set things in place so that it's less stressful for your family. We had a client just recently pass, and the family was in yesterday.
Sure.
And you know, they're finding out all kinds of things about their parents that they had no idea about.
Right, right.
That makes it challenging.
Yeah.
Because if all of a sudden now dad were to pass away and he's like 79, it's going to be real hard for them to pick up all the pieces.
Right.
To try to figure it out. So
Right.
we have a financial organizer we give people. We put all our stuff in a big binder.
Right.
To try to keep
To make it
all,
easier for
to
them
make it
when they go
easier
through.
for the family
Yeah.
if somebody passed.
It really is all important information. Jeff, thanks so much for being here. Now, you can find Jeff's checklist over at roadshow.com.